2021 NFL Draft, my Chicago Bears select Justin Fields, quarterback, Ohio State.
Understanding where the Bears stand to pick in the 2023 NFL Draft and why it matters to our rebuild. What's up, guys? Swift here, covering everything Chicago Bears. It seems like a lot of fans are turning their attention to the offseason, with the Bears now falling to 3-8. So today I wanted to talk about our projected draft pick, where it stands, what these wins and losses mean the rest of the year, and how it affects our rebuild. Let's get right into it. A lot of people seem to misunderstand the Bears' current projected draft pick. Yes, we are currently slated to draft third in next year's draft. However, it's a bit misleading. So there are 9 total teams with 3 wins or less. Top 2 picks belong to the Texans and Panthers currently. Number 3 shows that it's to the Bears. However, that is only because the Bears haven't had a bye week, and the teams currently slated to pick 4 through 9 all have. So they have 1 less loss than us currently. However, they all hold the tiebreaker over us. So if any one of those 6 teams lose, our draft pick goes down. If all 6 of those teams lose, we would then pick 9th instead of 3rd. We have the worst tiebreaker, which is strength of schedule. So right now, while we are slated to pick number 3, more realistically, 5 to 8 is where we currently stand. Anyone saying we have the number 3 pick locked down doesn't really get it. Let me show you Tankathon really quick. This is probably the best website when it comes to projected draft pick. So as you can see here, we are currently in the number 3 spot because we are 3-8. But if you look here, these teams also, all the way down to the Jaguars, have the same amount of wins as us, and their strength of schedule, right here, this number, we are at 569, which would put us all the way at the bottom of them, meaning we would pick 9th, not 3rd, if these teams lose. That's the Raiders, Broncos, Rams, Browns, Steelers, and Jaguars. All would pick before us if they end up with the same record. The only reason we are currently higher is because we've played more games. Out of those teams, you would have to assume that at least 3 or 4 of them will lose, meaning more realistically, we currently stand around pick 5 to 7 in next year's draft. Now, we can potentially pick as high as number 2 if we keep losing and a few things break our way. But right now, we are not locked into a top 3 pick. Also, if we manage to win 1 or even 2 more games this season, I know everyone thinks we possibly can't win a game, but that's simply untrue. This team has been very competitive in every game this season and can pull off an upset win or 2 down the stretch. 1 or 2 wins could potentially lead our first round pick to falling somewhere in between number 10 and 15 in the first round. So this is why I've been telling everyone all year, these losses could be a really good thing. We've lost 6 or 7 one-possession games. If we win 2 or 3 of those, our pick currently stands 15 to 20 instead of 3 to 9. A top 3 pick in the draft could be huge. There are then possibilities of a big trade down or acquiring a difference maker on the defensive line. The possibilities are endless. However, now that the Bears are 3-8 and the season is pretty much over, paired with the fact that our franchise quarterback is banged up, I believe it is now time that we pay a little bit more attention to this. I will post a weekly video on Monday or Tuesday updating our current draft position as we close out the season over the next 2 months. If you are rooting for a higher draft pick, I know that some of us simply can't and want the Bears to win every game, but if you are rooting for a top 5 or a top 3 pick, the things to root for are this. Number 1, the Bears to keep losing. Plain and simple, more losses equals a higher draft pick. Even 1 more win knocks us down the board. The second thing you want to root for is the other 3 and 4 win teams in the NFL to win another game or 2. The Bears' strength of schedule kills the draft slot when it comes to tiebreakers. So if we end up with the same record as a lot of other teams, we are going to pick last out of all those teams. So you want teams to win more games than we do, plain and simple. If you're rooting for a top pick, you want the Panthers, Raiders, Rams, Steelers, and Jaguars to win at least one more game, if not more. You can also root for the 4-win teams to win another game, just in case the Bears win again. Those teams are the Saints, Packers, Cardinals, and Lions. I don't think there's much of a chance to get the number 1 pick, but if you want that, the only chance is if the Texans win at least 2 more games, the Panthers win at least 1, and the Bears don't win another game all year. And then on top of that, you would still need the Raiders, Broncos, Rams, Browns, Steelers, and Jaguars to all win one more game. It's highly doubtful that we get the number 1 pick, but a top 3 pick is possible. And at this point in the season, I figured to at least give fans that are full in on tank mode some other things to watch and root for over the final couple months of the season. Also, a quick point to the people who keep saying Justin Fields needs to learn how to win. I don't believe this narrative. Fields has won everywhere he has played his entire career. He is breaking records and carrying this team, putting us in position to beat teams we shouldn't even be in these games. Fields isn't calling the plays. Fields isn't pass blocking. Fields isn't allowing guys to return punts for TDs or drive down the field on our defense or missing kicks or muffing punts and blowing games. He's putting us in a position to win games that we shouldn't even be in, and he has proven that he can play in this league. The biggest goal to close out this season now should be keeping him healthy for next season and ensuring that we have some good draft picks to add talent around him to go with the $135 million in cap space. Bottom line is Justin Fields has proven enough this year. These close losses and heartbreaks could potentially help this franchise make a Super Bowl run with just a little bit of luck. I know these losses suck and they hurt. I also know that fans have been burnt in the past by top picks. Look at the last few times the Bears picked in the top handful of picks. Those picks resulted in Mitch Trubisky, Kevin White, and Cedric Benson. Don't let that blind you, though. Ryan Poles is a scout at heart, and he's always planned to build this team through the draft. He's yet to even have a chance to make a pick in the first round. Giving him a top 3 or even a top 5 pick could be huge for this franchise long term. So while I know a lot of fans are down in the dumps and wanting to give up on this team after yesterday, I have to remind you guys that these losses this year could be really, really important for the future of this team. We have our quarterback. We potentially have our head coach and general manager too. This cannot be understated. The Chicago Bears' future is brighter than it's been since the mid-1980s. This offseason is potentially the most important in franchise history. For once, we have a young franchise quarterback to build around and a lot of young talent on this roster. I won't go into it now. I'll drop another video in the next day or two on the amount of solid young building blocks this team has on the roster. Pair that with twice as much cap space as any team in the league and 7 picks in the first 5 rounds of the upcoming draft, with the potential to have a top 5 pick, and the possibilities to improve this roster in the offseason are endless. Ryan Poles and Ian Cunningham could sign 15 to 20 free agents and attack the entire roster, or they can open up the checkbook for 2 or 3 of the biggest names out there and bringing in some smaller guys, all while having the most draft picks we've had in decades is simply awesome. I cannot wait for this offseason, but I love watching Bears football, so I don't ever want the season to end before it has, and am still excited to watch the rest of these games. I just wanted some of the fans who are down to understand how great these losses could be for our future. I think the best possibility of turning this team into a Super Bowl contender as soon as next season includes landing a top 3 pick and either taking Jalen Carter, Will Anderson, or trading down for multiple first-round picks. Thanks to everybody who watches these videos. I have more on the way. Please hit that like button for me. And until next time, bear down.